Hi, I'm Marybeth Van Horn, and welcome to Nurse Chats. Today we're going to talk about hearing, but I'm going to tell you a little story before we get to hearing, okay? I had a knee surgery when I was only 55 years old, uh, total knee replacement. My husband was sick at that time. I don't know. I couldn't get my knee fixed while he had cancer, so I limped for a long time. I was in severe pain, but anyway, I finally acquiesced after he passed away and had my knee replaced because I'd been waiting a long time to get it replaced, and it was time. But that goes back way back because what happened is the reason I had a knee problem so young in life is because I had an auto accident when I was 19, I think it was. I was going down a busy street in Chicago. I'm from Chicago, and I had a Mustang, yeah, 67, car of the year. And in those days, you didn't have seatbelts, or I don't even think the car had seatbelts. So we have since found how important seatbelts are in preventing what I went through. And I'm digressing to this moment because what happened was this old gentleman, like in, I think it was in his late 80s, but he pulled out in front of me. Um, Maybe he didn't see, maybe he wasn't paying attention, but he pulled out against a red light. It was a red light, and he pulled out, and I went right into the side of his car. It's called a T-bone. So I had a T-bone accident and hit my head on the windshield and had a head injury. We'll talk about head injuries another time, but uh, as big as that is that I hit the dashboard with my knees because you sat low in those cars, and both my knees hit the dash and broke the dashboard. So that was quite the impact, right? Um, Many years later, the doctor told me that when I was going to have my knees replaced, that the accident I had in my teenage years likely set me up for arthritis at an early age in my knees. So I've just had such a joy all along. I mean, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen to me. I'm one of those people. So the knee issue came from something way back. And I had my knee replaced, and well, there's mixed thoughts on what caused this, but after I had my knee replaced, I went to rehab, and I had a cold. I developed a respiratory infection in the rehab place, and then um, all of a sudden I had this incredible, unbelievable. I wouldn't even call it a ringing in my ear. It was like a horn went off, like there was a horn, a loud, as if somebody laid on the horn in their car. Horn went off in my right ear. And I kept telling the doctors, "Oh my God, it's unbelievable! I have this unbelievable horn going off in my ear." And I can't remember if they put me on antibiotics or not. I can't remember all the discussion, but it wasn't like it was any big deal because I had a knee replacement. It was more important than my hearing, I guess. But so anyway, that lasted for, oh my God, 3 weeks. I mean, you want to talk about every thought going through your mind. I'm a singer, and I thought, oh, well, I'll never sing again. If I have to listen to this for the rest of my life, I don't know if I could do that. And, it went on, but it was the worst, one of the worst things that ever happened to me in my life, actually. But I am very grateful that the horn stopped blasting in my right ear about 3 weeks after it started. But what I was left with was a small ringing in my ear, like a white noise kind of that I always have there. And I have compromised hearing. My hearing tests show that it's definitely diminished in certain tones on that side. So I wear hearing aids, and I'm going to talk about that. Is it because people go around having hearing deficits all the time, and what'd you say? Even kids can have a hearing problem from a hearing loss from a ear infection, right? And so it's not that uncommon. A lot of people have hearing loss. And hearing is very important for messages to your brain. It's important for your balance. It's important for communication. I mean, I can't tell you, if I don't wear my hearing aids, before I got my hearing aids, my grandson was just so perturbed with me half the time because I'd be like, "What'd you say?" I always said, "What did you say?" Especially if he was in the back seat of the car and there was background noise, or I couldn't hear him, I couldn't see his lips, or I could, we're just talking, and I might have even a light radio on. I had to turn off the radio, and I say, "What did you say? What did you say? What?" And so he'd say it like 4 times what he was trying to, or he'd give up and say, "Oh, forget it, Grandma," and I'd be like, "No, tell me, don't just say forget it." And I was frustrated. He was frustrated. It wasn't fun for either of us, and I really think he was the main reason why I finally decided to get some hearing aids, because I was like, I don't want to go through this with my grandson. I mean, I don't want him to have this memory of me. And so I got hearing aids, and they're expensive. I happen to have insurance. Praise be to God. I did have insurance at that time. Um, Today they have different hearing devices now that I think even places like Costco sell them, but uh, I don't know if they talk as much about the absolute benefits of being able to hear well. My dad couldn't hear well, but we always said it was selective. I remember my sister Denise and we were sitting there one time, and Dad was reading the paper, so he had the paper up in front of him, probably trying to avoid the 10 kids in our family. But we were sitting there at his feet, and my sister and I were doing, like, trying to get his attention, but we weren't, and he kept going, like he wasn't really listening. So she and I so we started going, "Dad, the house is on fire." And he'd go, And I know possibly my dad knew what we were doing, so that he even enhanced it even more, just knowing his playful sense of humor. But seriously, he couldn't hear anything he didn't want to hear. And we all talked about Dad not hearing. And he worked in an environment in the steel industry with very high, loud noises. And people have gone to concerts, they have hearing loss from the loud concerts. I have a friend who said they couldn't hear for 2 days or 3 days after a concert that they went to at Red. I don't know if it was at Red Rock. Might have been McNichol, somewhere that they couldn't hear for days after the concert. So have subsequently had hearing loss. And I used to love that blast like Metallica in my headset when I was working out at the gym, and I loved like that boom 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 boom. So who knows? I mean, I probably have a lot of reasons that I have hearing loss, but that incident with my post-op in my knee surgery, it was quite the surprise that was the side effect of that surgery. I had an elective surgery so I could walk better, and lost significant hearing. Really? Only me. No, I'm kidding. But it's just like my luck, right? But anyway, what I want to say is hearing is important for a number of reasons. Um, can you train yourself to hear better? I think so. Even though some of it is organic, or has been an injury like mine. They tell me that I think the hairs that receive sound have laid down in my ear. That's what I understood it to be, and that they have no cure for that, and that they will, they just can't stand up again. They're damaged down, and that's how the doctor explained it to me when I got hearing aids. But until they find a cure, or somebody finds a cure for hearing problems, I went ahead and got hearing aids because it's important to me to hear, especially with as many injuries and things as I've had, and as many troubles as I've had with communication with my grandson, and a number of things. Now here it is, my current husband. I did lose a husband. I've talked about that, to cancer, but I got remarried, and I'm happily married to this wonderful man. But he doesn't wear hearing aids, and he did for a little while, and then he'd stop wearing them. Then he lost one. It goes on and on with him, but it's a problem. I mean, I'm like, dude, I just said that 4 times, or you can't hear me in another room. It's very frustrating for the other person when one person can't hear. So take it seriously, guys. If you're having trouble with hearing, own up, admit it. If you have insurance, get something through your insurance. If you don't, there are other options out there, and um, I think your life will be improved and better if you can hear better. If you're having a hearing deficit, just take care of it. See if you can do something about it. Talk to you later. Bye bye.